the first mystery schools in Europe, known as York Rites, Scottish Rites, Knights Templars, Rosicrucians, and all of those and also the Illuminati, which is the original Lumen one. So we're not going to be dealing with the Illuminati of today, but the one that the Moors set up. Is what we're going to be dealing with. So that's going to be what we're going to be dealing with tomorrow. More science. We'll be dealing with vampirism, UFOlogy. So I would suggest if you are, come back tomorrow also too. Today our topics, if we're going to have some topics, will include, well, we always start off with a hard copy, but it will include some forms of alchemy that we'll get into. It'll get into some forms of alchemy. It'll also get into some parts of the concentration camp phenomenon that's going on. We're going to uncover some. We're going to get behind there's some information that came out on the ancient Greeks, the black Greeks, and the other ones just came in and basically stole the language and everything else. We're going to deal with some of that today. A couple of other things. Also, I'll be giving out, and we will even probably get into some readings if we have enough time also too. So what I'm going to do is also, I'm in the, I'm strapped for cash based on the rent thing, you know. Basically what has happened is within the last year, when I left everything behind to come into the lecture circuit, you find out that in actuality that the conscious community is just like anything else. It's hot a couple of years and then it's dead a couple of years. So basically after the Afrocentric movement died down, basically you have a death in the consciousness now, whereas, you know, there's not a big demand for it. So as a result, what happens is basically I'm left out there up shit creek without a paddle. So basically, as a result, for about the last year and all, I've been struggling based on everything else, you know, because until I somehow find another source of income and stuff, you know. So basically, what I'm doing here is we just, like I say, we just living from pillar to post as far as you know, one day at a time. And I had a ritual called Assuming the Christ form that I somehow left a folder in Atlanta, but it was spiritual because I came up on a ritual. I came up on a ritual back in the spring, an actual melanin ritual from the Avarice Papyrus, which is a papyrus that was smuggled out of the Library of Alexandria, and it's an actual papyrus and an actual ritual that deals with melanin. So as a result, I condensed it and was able to get it down to I was able to get the entire ritual on one page, and so on one page, and then I did the graphics and all of that type thing. So if those people interested, just remember this is not only are you getting the ritual, but this is adding to the not getting kicked out on my ass fund. So so basically it's only $2. Basically, you know, for the ritual for those particular people that need it, and if you won't, buy two, because it's for a good cause. You see what I'm saying, also too. So instead of just begging for stuff, I figured I'd give you something also that we need to have. So basically, before you leave today, we can pass it around if anybody wants to. We could pass them around, and those people that want to give the $2 for the melanin ritual, and to let you know it's not. When you read it, it's nothing. There's some stuff that I threw together because it actually have the papyrus number on it, based on probably the British Museum number, and so it's an actual papyrus and it's an actual ancient papyrus, and we'll go over this. We'll go over this in the lecture today. As a matter of fact, I think what I'll do is I'll start off by going over this. Going over this also too. For those people that's interested, just remember, you know, it's not only for your well-being as far as some things, but also for the welfare fund. Also, what we're going to deal with here is also, I think it's interesting because we have this particular papyrus, and and it's dealing with melanin. And since we being melanated people, I think it's more than fair that we get something that's related more to our cause. And also, so basically, what you have here is it's called controlling the shadow. What is the shadow? The shadow is known as melanin. So anytime you reading any type of thing dealing with anything with the body, anytime you run up on the word the shadow, it's 2 for you. Okay, who's this for? Okay, yeah. Anytime you run up on the word the shadow, anybody want to do the honors of passing this around and getting and collecting the dough? You know, here, take another one. For those people that need it and all, just take a few. And as the people come in, we'll be dealing with some of these and all. Well, yeah, she already gave the thing. Okay, you got 2, 1, 2. Okay. So we're gonna go over this in a few minutes. We're gonna pour libation, but anytime you run up on the word the shadow, that's melanin. So now where you find things on the shadow, also for those people that some people need to take notes always. For those people who don't have video audio equipment, also we have the video here today also too. So you get with Noah Nature and Sister Delilah, and you know, in trying to get the video. But anytime you run up on the word shadow in any type of discipline, that's talking about melanin. There's over 300 different names for melanin. To understand the shadow, you're gonna who talks about it a lot is that he actually got it from the papyrus. Is anytime you buy any works from the psychologist Jung. He deals with the shadow. As a matter of fact, he has a book called The Shadow. So anytime you he and all through his books he deals with the shadow. Anytime you see that shadow, that's talking about melanin. You see what I'm saying? So they don't say melanin, they'll say the shadow. And anytime you're reading any type of stuff, and it runs up on the shadow. Also, look up one of his prized students is a woman by the name of Jean Singer. Jean Singer. Anytime you, if you run up on any books in the psychology section, she deals with things on the shadow. He has a big, thick book called Archetypes of the Collective Unconsciousness is one. Then there's a book called Jung on Alchemy. And then there's a book called Alchemical Collections. So, Alchemical Collections and stuff. So, anytime you see this shadow, that means melanin. And now, if you've already started reading this particular part, they'll tell you that it needs to be done during the time of the summer months. Since you got melanin year-round, you disregard that. You can do it anytime because we're talking about something inwardly. And so, therefore, it doesn't necessarily have to really deal with the outside forces, although they are right that the melanin is most dominant in us in the most powerful in the summer months of dog days, so they are right by saying this. But then again, on the other hand, that doesn't necessarily have to be the case when we have any of your solstice. Now remember, we don't necessarily have to deal with dates, but you deal with eons and cycles. Winter solstice, summer solstice, fall equinox, spring equinox. So you know one of the good times to deal with this particular melanin ritual will also be the winter solstice, which is your whole Christmas thing is named after, that they tried to put into this December 25th of some birthday of some Jesus Christ who never existed in the past. So therefore, you know, that would be a good time also too. This is a good time to do it because of in actuality, the Halloween thing, although we think it is, the Halloween thing is based on an ancient holiday for the Archangel Michael, the fall festival of the Archangel Michael. It's called the Great Harvest. And the Great Harvest is basically after the summer months of all the energy. In the fall, it comes and everything is harvested. So we're talking about harvest or an abundance or a horn of plenty in of this particular energy from the summer. This is where you get Thanksgiving and these particular things, because remember now, the people who set up America and set up European society was the secret societies who were taught by the Moors. So they just fused in metaphysical days of energy that they knew of, that they practiced secretly. They just named it holidays for the masses of the people who didn't know what time it was. So Christmas would be the winter solstice energy, Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving, 4th of July, Halloween, all of that is all a form of the fall festivals of Archangel Michael, of the Archangel Michael. So right now, at this particular point right now is the time to be doing certain things. As a matter of fact, we're going to pull libations, but while it's fresh on my mind, I guess I have to get things off before I forget. As a matter of fact, I want to read something to you here. Here the Apocalypse, it says, surrenders a central secret. It discloses itself as Michael's book. Although it is not called anywhere else by name, Michael moves through the whole book. Archangel Michael, as you know, is Egyptian Heru, Horus. It moves through the whole book. He is the producer of the cosmic drama. So the Archangel Michael would be the book that the angel in the book of Revelation is talking about. Christ and Michael is the same thing, and it's not talking about it's also talking about different stages of your development. Now, it says the sequence of the seasons of nature offers each autumn a wonderful introduction in the quality and the mood of the Archangel. At the threshold of autumn, we celebrate the festival of Saint Michael of all angels. It is a revealing moment. September is filled with the afterglow of summer. The mature beauty of harvest time surrounds us. In the months of the sun passes through the sign of the Virgin. At that moment, the apocalyptic image of the woman clothed with the sun, you heard that before, I behold a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon at her feet, and on her head is a diadem of 12 stars. In that moment, the woman clothed with the sun is realized in the sky. Later in November, the sun passes through Scorpio. The world becomes becomes bare, homeless, and cold. The colors have vanished. In the sky, the sign of the dragon rules. The season of Michaelinus lies between. And also, then the sun is in the scales. That's Mayat. That's Mayat. When you hear the word dragon, dragon is an ancient word for Draco, but it's also another alchemical word for melanin. The archangel holds the scales, and it intervenes between Virgo and Scorpio, between the woman and the dragon. Michael of power and balance prevails in the battle between the angels and the demons. And basically this is talking about a cosmic drama and a cosmic war that's going on inside of you. Inside of you. A conscious crossing of the threshold of autumn every year makes and partakes the drama with the apocalypse depicted in the 12th chapter of the book of Apocalypse. So now this whole Halloween thing that you're thinking is something else is actually a Masonic holiday that was given to them by the Moors in Spain. And so now at this particular time, so the November the 20, well, the October the 20, October the 31st crosses over into November. That's the crossing, and it's the Archangel Michael, and that's the whole angelic realm, and it goes into the constellation of the dragon Draco. So all of this particular months, all these particular months is always dealing with certain amount of things, and it's also dealing with things inside of your body. So year round is times for the gods to do things. So like I said, for those people that didn't get it, this $2 ritual, ancient papyrus, the papyrus of Ebers on melanin, the shadow. As you notice in this particular ritual, they said that page 23, they got the word Phrouer, and they say the great sun. You know that great sun is Sirius. That great sun is Sirius. And they tell you about the other things that's also in here. Now it says here Theron, which is on the footnote 31, it says is a Greek word for the fig leaf. The fig leaf, we're going to pull libation, but let me get this while it's fresh on my mind. The fig leaf is where some forms of melanin is also found in figs. In figs. So I think in some part of the Bible they'll talk about in the end time when you see the fig tree. That fig tree is also talking about melanin. Anytime you hear the fig tree in the Bible, that's talking about melanin. Figs have that particular melanin. So right here it says the Greek word for fig leaf, but here it means a mixture of eggs, milk, and what's this? Lard, flour, honey, and cheese are popular among the Greeks. This is cooked and wrapped in a fig leaf, is hence the name. So I think that's a particular potion they're talking about here. You see, potion they're talking about here. Now this particular papyrus came out of the Library of Alexandria, translated from Hemmitt into Greek. And based on that, you have this postmodern magical papyrus of Avarice, and it's dealing with this particular, this melanin ritual. And if you don't understand, just go through this thing over and over. Now, one thing about the rituals are, you don't necessarily need certain things you have to go out and buy. A lot of that is for white people. Basically, because you have melanin, the only thing you need to do is consciously recite these things. And recite them over and over till it works into the subconscious, which we'll deal with a little bit today based on the subconscious. That we'll deal with based on the subconscious. And once it works its way into the subconscious, that's when you have spiritual awakening and spiritual attainment also too. So those people who didn't get that particular ritual, we still have some left over. We'll be selling these rituals today and tomorrow also too. We'll be selling those today and tomorrow also too. You pass that down or whatever. Now, let's deal with some things. First of all, you got your water for the libation. I think is that it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. Yep. Okay. Yep. All right. And like I said, this is a $2. Here you go. Like I said, this is if you want to buy some for family members or whatever, we still have some. This is for the rent fund also too. So you know. No, I'm gonna use the You want to use the well water? Okay, use this for libation. Okay, cool. Okay, we can give them this. Yeah, that's cool. We'll do that. All right, let me put this on my hip, on dope dealer style. Make sure I got it on 2. 2 is FL, right? 1, okay. F1, yeah, make sure I got it on F1, okay. All right. Let's deal with this. Okay. Now, since you paid the money, if the children get a little too loud, just let people know. You know, don't be bashful, you know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, we don't want you to get to the point where you're not listening. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. All right. Awas, Ashe, Al-Sut, Ashe, Mamu, Ashe, Astal, Ashe, Nkulu, Ashe, Cthulhu, Ashe, Hastar, Ashe, Azathoth, Ashe, Nilahotep, Ashe, Shub-Niggurath, Ashe, Dagon, Ashe, Cthulhu, Ashe, Hilaron, Ashe, Baal, Ashe, Baal Shem, Ashe, Ankh the Khonsu, Ashe, let's see, Lakshmi, Ashe, Jinseya, Ashe, Dambawalawedo, Ashe, Bridget, Ashe, Marasha, Ashe, Babamat, Ashe, Papagede, Ashe, Legba, Ashe, Edoedo, Ashe, Azuli, Ashe, Zaki, Ashe, Alafi, Ashe, Oduduwa, Ashe, Okulukulu, Ashe, Iminja, Ashe, Oladumare, Ashe, Ife, Ashe, Loa, Ashe, Abatala, Ashe, Shingo, Ashe, Oshun, Ashe, Ogun, Ashe, Legba, Ashe, Oya, Ashe, Orisha Oku, Ashe, Oduduwa, Ashe. Aset. Ashe. Heru. Ashe. Osar. Ashe. Raheru Kahudi. Ashe. Bash Ashe too. Ashe. Patah. Ashe. Amen Ra. Ashe. Amen. Ashe. Amen Rinthansar. Ashe. Amen Set. Ashe. Anthar. Ashe. Anubis. Ashe. Anuket. Ashe. Anpu. Ashe. On. Ashe. Tahudi. Ashe. Elijah. Ashe. Raheru Kahudi. Ashe. Harkent Kuti. Ashe. Osiris Kintiamenti. Ashe. Kinti Erti. Ashe. Cones. Ashe. Sekhmet. Ashe. Mot. Ashe. Mut. Ashe. Meskinit. Ashe. Noon. Ashe. Dadun. Ashe. Duwamutef. Ashe. Newt. Ashe. Apit. Ashe. Tyert. Ashe. Ishtar. Ashe. Marduk. Ashe. Malkuth. Ashe. Dar. Ashe. Shakma. Ashe. Bina. Ashe. Jesed. Ashe. Yesed. Ashe. Keva. Ashe. Chakma. Ashe. Let's see, let's keep going on. Raziel, Ashe. Kaziel, Ashe. Samiel, Ashe. Bubiel, Ashe. Haniel, Ashe. All right, let's keep on going, see if we can do. Eniel, Ashe. Enoch, Ashe. Metatron, Ashe. Atan, Ashe. Medura Atan, Ashe. Patadnata Unra, Ashe. Thunderdog, Ashe. Thunderbear, Ashe. Sunbear, Ashe. Kakshidi, Ashe. Jinsia, Ashe. Damawalawedo, Ashe. Let's see, let's keep going on. Master Farad Muhammad, Ashe. Iminja, Ashe. Quetzalcoatl, Ashe. Awas, Ashe. Mu Awas, Ashe. Mu Obas, Ashe. Ibas, Ashe. Ani, Ashe. Lee, Ashe. Ashe. Minivis. Ashe. Mintu. Ashe. Mintu. Ashe. Mintep Sing Sing. Ashe. Let's see. Let's see if that another. Layla. Ashe. Allah. Ashe. To all gods known and unknown. Ashe. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, the Shaw family. Ashe. The Hemmitt family. Ashe. The Davis family. Ashe. To all my family members. Ashe. 1, 2, 3. Start calling out your family members. 1, 2, 3. Ashe. 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 To all ancestors known and unknown. Ashe. To all gods known and unknown. Ashe. To the god Ishu. Ashe. To the I want to say to Oshun. Ashe. And I think Ishu, Oshun, and I got another one. Dudawa. Ashe. I want to get some of my Orishas. Okay, so I guess that would be all. We just give them the rest of this water. And to Sophia, Ashe. To Sut, Ashe. To Sut Nubit, Ashe. To Sut Nessie, Ashe. Ashe. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here. So, like I said, you're going to deal with some things. Unfortunately, here's a little book, Occult Scientists in Ancient Atlantis. It's out of print, but what you can do is sometimes for your out-of-print book searches or when you at certain places, you might run across this. If you ever run across this book, you will know to pick it up. Occult Sciences in Ancient Atlantis by Louis Spence. Now, this particular book is out of print, but his book called The History of Atlantis has just been reprinted. So that might be a book that you want to get in the future also, too, that deals with Atlantis. Few good books that deal with Atlantis that you might want to get. One particular book is called Universe, Earth, and Man. Universe, Earth, and Man by Rudolf to deal with it. Another good book by Rudolf Steiner is Spiritual. That's also in print. And one of his great books dealing with Atlantis and also dealing with melanin is called Cosmic Memories. Cosmic Memories. This is the book. Those books are in print. Those particular books are in print. But in one particular part in this particular book on page 74, it says that the deities that result in the process from a native one, the deities result in a process form a black powder which was supposed to contain in itself the individualities of various metals which had combined with the composition. Now, In this, he's saying that in actuality that the Egyptians, by them being masters of alchemy, and since the Moors, the alchemical process was lost, and them being masters of alchemy, that they could actually create melanin outside of the body, which bears witness to this whole Yaku process, where they said that it wasn't no problem in creating gene splicing, but the Atlantean priests knew how to take a body and also bring down the actual forces from the cosmos and actually make a complete melanated soul also too. So not only could they create bodies, they could create complete humans. And the so-called scientists of Yakub and all those were only in junior high school and they was not able to actually create. They didn't learn the great alchemical process of making this particular melanin to create a complete human. As a matter of fact, they did even worse with gene splicing of DNA by grafting different animals. Now, for those people who think this is hocus pocus, just remember now, there is no evidence on the planet about any other thing, but the other things that how white people got here is only theories. The only process or the only evidence on the planet that we have on archaeological, anthropological, religious, as far as scriptorial, and sociological evidence is all based on the Yakub theory. Now, that's the only evidence we have. So you can think what you want about the beast, but the evidence, and it's just like Maulana Karenga say, hell, we don't have to say that. Just read what his woman says about him. The literature that his woman writes on him. They let you know about that type of thing, about that particular type of thing. So we're going to get into a hard copy. It was something else that I wanted to deal with also before I really went into that. Also, we have this. I'm going to give you this number. Let me look in. Let me get this number for those people. You just write the number down. In 1994, I had a brother. He created a device. Now, let me explain what this is. The number 418 means the great work. And the great works is an alchemical term in alka, which means the completion of all the cosmic substance. You form the great work. Well, that great work is called melanin. That's the completion of all the substance, and that's also in you. So Aleister Crowley and the Golden Dawn Society took the Kabbalistic breakdown, and the Kabbalistic breakdown of the word great works come to the word 418. Now, what do they mean by that? The Kabbalah has a numerical scale in which you can break down every ancient word. Has a number, and every number is infinite, and every word in the ancient language, English, Latin, or whatever, you can break it down numerical. And by breaking it down numerical, you can get the actual Kabbalistic component of what that is, breaking things down numerical. Which you also, if you wanted to learn more about that process, you need to buy the book Aleister Crowley 777 and other Kabbalistic writings, which breaks down words numerical, and each word has each number is infinite and has a certain spiritual sequence and formulas. Also, another book is called Goldwyn's Kabbalistic Dictionary, big thick book. Goldwyn's Kabbalistic Dictionary is one that breaks down words numerically, from 1 to like 3,000. And so the great work is the bringing together of a cosmic substance. The great work is an alchemical term for melanin. It's a cosmic substance that is the life force of black people. The Kabbalah has a numerical breakdown of every word, which equates to 418. The great work is primarily an alchemical term that denotes a bringing of a substance or energy to the fullest base metals or gold. As a typical example, in Crowley's cult, the great work entails the union of the 5 and the 6, i.e. man, God, woman, man, beast, and angel, enabling our race, the original race, enabling the original race with melanin to obtain cosmic consciousness. Now, the illuminates of 5 and 6 in the pentagram and the hexagram, or the black dot melanin together, forms the 11-fold star of Sirius. In the candidate, it is realized that the knowledge of the conversation of the holy guardian angel or the higher self. So when you bring these particular substances together, you can speak with your higher self. Now, which in actuality this particular melanin ritual is talking about that, because at the end of the ritual it says this. It says, in the 7th hour of the shadow will come to you and appear before you. Speak to it, and it says, follow me everywhere. So this particular ritual is supposed to do that, but it takes practice. It takes you reciting. Now, you don't have to go through all the actual gestures as far as getting this and get that. Just recite the actual rituals that start, the actual words of the ritual that start. You can lie down on your stomach, just recite that every day until you work it into your subconscious. Now, let me explain this. Now, dealing with this 418, I'm going to give you this particular number. Let me get this out of my bag. Where's my other bag? Write this number down and call her name is Sister Aphrodite. Sister Aphrodite. The name of the place is AWO, AWO Communications. AWO Communications. The woman name is Sister Aphrodite. AFRIKITI. The number is 404-521-2033. 404-521-2033. In my lecture, her husband, whose name is Heru, might I add, is an arrow warrior. He's one of the scientists. You'll hear in the Nation of Islam, Honorable Elijah Muhammad used to call the ones who would get together and make certain inventions, or even this knowledge, they call them the scientists. So he's the scientist, where he took the actual using my tapes and dealing with the 418. He heard me mention it so much in the summer of 1994, he went to work and he created this tune based on 418 hertz. It was not megahertz, it was hertz. And he created this device. It was a round device, and you mash a button and it would make this sound. But the only problem is with it, when it made the actual sound, you had to hold it. It was no way that you could meditate to it, because you need to go inside. So as a result, he was able to, 2 years later, 2 years later, he was able to put this and transfer this sound on a cassette disc, on a cassette tape. And so now he's selling these melanin modulators, which is the right thing that we need to meditate to. Our communication, that's the person.
Are they the people who put out the show readings and things like that?
It's in Atlanta, yeah. I think so. But anyway, it's this particular melanin molecule, and you need this particular thing to meditate with. Also, if you get the book, Destiny Books, that's the person that put out the Sirius Mystery. Now, that Destiny Book company also has a cassette called Sounds of the Chakras. That's for those people that's into meditation. It's a tape called Sounds of the Chakras. It used to be about $7. I don't know how much it is now, maybe $14 now. You know, they go up. I bought one in 93. And each chakra has a petal, has a flower, and each flower has a petal. And they have these particular, and each chakra has a certain mantra. And if you use that tape and go to each chakra, all the way up to your crown chakra, hell, by the time you get to the throat chakra, by doing the actual chants, you damn near drunk. So it's called Sounds of the Chakra, very good tape. Another good tape you can pick up is called Tibetan Bells, 1, 2, and 3. Very good tape. Tibetan Bells, very good tape. Also, you know, you have the crystal bowls you can buy. Some of them cost anywhere from $80 to $300, and that also aligns certain things. But the tape, the real valuable tape also is Sounds of the Chakras, is one that you also want to deal with also too. I never thought that I could sit down and speak, but I found out the last time here, so I can do it and stuff, because we get, you know, I guess so, you know. So now, these are some things that we want to deal with, and so that particular number, I'll give it to you again to the people who need it again, is where you would actually get that particular, that melanin 418. Now, also, there's another form of melanin. It's called 718. And so I produced this particular information recently, and now he's working on a 718 tape. 718 tape. You know, and immediately when he created it, we got the spirits came down and said, yes, this is what you can use, because, hell, you the gods, you create what the hell you want to create. You see what I'm saying? You create what you want to create. You see what I'm saying? So he immediately started putting together a 718 tape, which is this particular tape that deals with another form of melanin. Another form of melanin. So those particular people is interested in that. I was going to bring some up, but I don't know. Did they get back in town? When did you get it? Because they were going out of town for about a week or so, so I wasn't able to go down and get some. Yeah. So now, what we're dealing with here with this particular ritual, this is why things don't work. We have knowledge and we hear knowledge, but we are not able to bring the knowledge from the conscious level to the subconscious level. Before moving to the ultimate power, the subconscious mind, we ought to spend time looking at what we call facts. Since your birth, much of what you know has been given to you by someone else. Your parents, your teachers, your society, television, and so on. You have been given facts, and your subconscious mind has been acting out these facts ever since. From now on, you must question these facts to see if they are indeed true. More important, if they are not true, if they are true for you. As, let's see. Now I want to get this right. It says that the model, most of these particular facts are actually given to you, and given to you in your particular mind is actually modeled within the first year of your life. In the first year of your life. From then on, you are set in your ways. Do you remember an idea that your particular parents gave to you? Now, I want to deal with something here. They're saying, based on the particular facts that you give, your subconscious, you cannot make anything work, not unless your subconscious get it. Your conscious can get it, and that's when they say you understand, but you don't understand. That's because your subconscious hadn't gotten it, because your subconscious doesn't believe it. Your subconscious is the only thing that works for you where you can actually make things work. And your subconscious only transmits what it believes to be fact. So if you're getting wrong facts, then you need to put the right facts. Now what do they say? Well, you say a fact is a fact. Not necessarily true. Because our facts is based on science. And based on science, shit that they had 10 years ago, they have now disproven that that particular stuff is wrong. In medicine, in technology, in nature. So the white man is constantly disproving his facts. That 10 years ago, this was the fact. But yet, we got black intellectuals saying, well, I want to deal with the facts. But do you know that 99.9% of everything that the white man believed was fact 100 years ago has now been disproven? Right? So therefore, there's a whole thing saying don't intellectualize nothing for the simple fact that it can be wrong tomorrow based on the way the white man has taught you to look at facts. You understand where I'm coming from? And your subconscious only deals with what it believes to be fact. So you got to put the right fact in it. Because until your subconscious get it, these are just mere words. That's why we can go to lecture over and over and over and over again. You understand what I'm saying? And can't quite get it. But yet, the fundamentalists and cult groups who have this science to penetrate everything and go straight to the subconscious, they can tell you that God is Mickey Mouse, and you'll believe that shit. Be 40 years old believing in some damn stuff in the Bible that don't make no sense half the time. You understand where I'm coming from? Why is that? That's because the fundamentalists and the particular organizations drive it into your subconscious, so therefore they can control you. So the same method in what is used where you got buffoons. You got the Yahweh Ben Yahweh group in Florida. They believe that Yahweh Ben Yahweh is God, but Yahweh Ben Yahweh been locked up in prison since 1991. And they say he's the God of the universe. If he's the God of the universe, he can at least get his ass out of prison. Hell, I know white people can break out of prison. Hell, I know niggas on the street can break out of prison. But that's the psychological, subconscious brainwashing that they do, and the white man does it. You understand what I'm saying? So therefore, we're talking about putting the right facts in, and it doesn't necessarily have to rely on science. You see, if you notice on these TV shows, especially A&E, if anybody got cable, they'll come on with all this stuff, and they always get a scientific person, as if to say that the scientific community is right. You understand what I'm saying? And they do this to keep you stuck in their form of what is called their form of scholarship. And that's why you can't go no further. You understand where I'm coming from? So, we're talking about driving things home to your subconscious, but not only are we talking about driving stuff home to your subconscious, you got to realize what is based on fact. Now, how do you believe facts? The stuff that's factual is the stuff that your forebears laid down for you in ancient papyrus, in ancient Egyptian, and ancient Greeks. Because remember, there's nothing invented by the white man. Nothing. You see what I'm saying? Well, I'm going to show you some things about the Greeks. So there's nothing invented by the white man. You see what I'm saying? So your forebears laid this particular stuff down for you, and so, case in point, this is what I mean here. There's a lot of stuff coming out, a lot of information coming out, white people in the New Age movement, since the New Age is popular, and they'll come out with all these damn star systems and all this new shit, yet you can't go to no Egyptian papyrus or nothing and find none of this stuff in the ancient time. I only talk about Sirius. You see, because you can find Sirius and Orion and even the Pleiades in some parts of Greece. You can find these particular things in ancient fragments. But the Pleiades that they're talking about, it's not in ancient Egypt. And the Greeks only use the Pleiades based on astrology and astronomy. That's different than star systems of spiritual realms. So what is happening here is you need to balance things out. And that's why the Afrocentric community was good. Although they basically taught history, it was good that if you can't trace a certain amount of things back to a cultural significance, you'll know that a lot of this new stuff is coming up. It's bulljive, and the white people are actually inventing things to somehow put their place in history or in this cosmic phenomenon that's going on. You understand where I'm coming from here? So this is the reason why we give the actual scholarship. It's not as if, well, if anybody's heard my tapes, it's not as if because you got a lot of people out here talking a lot of things. But if you notice, you never can say that I didn't give you enough scholarship to drown yourself on. You understand what I'm saying? You see, so a lot of people will say, well, where did you get that from? And it's confusing now, because you're getting 3,000 views from different people now, and you want to know what's true. Well, when a person tells you, well, I got this from this particular person, but if they can't give you a certain amount of scholarship, now we know that everything ain't going to come from scholarship because a lot of things are lost. But we can direct you based on enough scholarship that you can understand when things are healthy or not. And basically, this is what I have done. Not bragging or anything like this, but I'm just trying to show you on how, even in the New Age movement, they come up with a whole lot of new stuff they invent. But yet it never correlates with Africa, or they take Egypt out of what's called, and even in the New Age movement, when you go in these metaphysical bookstores, all shit came out of Egypt, but yet if you go to the Egypt section, it ain't up for 4 or 5 books. They got more stuff on Greece, which is nothing but Egypt. You see what I'm saying? So that's some things that's also going on. So let's get into some things. The white man is actually coming out now, and I guess, well, that was mineral water. I guess, well, somebody pour me some water or whatever, and give me some of them things to put in my mouth, them cheese things. Yeah, give me a little bit of those. Y'all all right? That TV is working or something? Okay. So, the white boy is actually coming out and telling you things in so many movies on what's going on. Now, there's a movie with Gina Davis and Samuel L. Jackson out called A Long Kiss Goodnight. Now, in the movie, they got all this action going on, but the movie, they actually admit that the World Trade Center was set up by the United States government, and they got this particular Arab and pinned it on this Arab. So people go and see the movie and would think that in actuality, oh, that's just a movie. They're telling you everything in the doggone movie. Real key. Long Kiss Goodnight. Gina Davis and Samuel L. Jackson. Very key. When I get on down later on, I'm going to show you a couple of things, this Christ stories, because the Christ story is basically in every culture. Show you certain movies out with that denotes to the Christ story, which is actually talking about you. That's in all cultures. One of those movies is the children's movie, which they make. All children movies are made for adults, if you know what time it is. One of the best movies there to explain our story is called The Neverending Story, where this little boy, who's this little weakling, reads this particular book, and he goes through this whole book, and he's seeing this great adventure that's going on. And at the end of the movie, he finds out that in actuality, it's him in the book. And they're trying to save this magical kingdom, which would be a Mensa, which would be a Gotha, which would be the other realm of the spiritual realm of the abode of the gods. And they're trying to save this heaven realm. And the little boy is saying, why can't you save it? Or the other little boy in the character in the movie or in the book that he's thinking is a person outside of himself. And the young princess said, we can't save it because the person who's reading the book doesn't believe in himself, and he doesn't know that this is all the shit about him. And all he has to do is say the word. You see. All he has to do is say the word. So this is some interesting things that's actually going on. The movie Doom, which came out 1984. It starred Sting and a couple other people. The whole movie is being fought over a spice called melange. Melange, which is talking about melanin. And they say he who controls the spice controls the universe. So you can rent that particular movie. It's on the Disney Channel. But you could rent that. Dune. You can rent that particular movie. D-U-N-E, Dune. And it's actually dealing with melanin wars. Yeah, that'll do me. It's dealing with melanin wars. Very key.
I was watching the Excerpt, and I want to know if you know the name Archon.
Archon?
Like the weather and everything was messing up. So the king's name was Archon. He was pertaining to something called Perlimicus, another name for Perlimicus.
Well, they have different names and all, but the X-Men, they say mutants, but it's not talking about mutants as far as white people. It's actually talking about black people, but they're throwing you off. The X-Men was founded by Xavier in 1950-something. In actuality, that's Malcolm X.
Okay.
That's
and that's what I was saying. Everybody was black, but it was this one outsider who was white in the whole crowd. So,
what was his name?
They didn't say his name, but he was the one that would go up to this big crystal disc that they and it was King Archon would say Perlimicus. See, I picked those two words out.
Yeah, well, I know there's an Archon that I'm going to deal with tonight, which is a entity that's out of the Gnostic scripts, is dealing with this evil people that's actually ruling us at this particular time when we get into that. But the X-Men is a very good one, like I said, but the best one ever made is the Gargoyles, which is black people, which is the key. Couple of things that's going on right now. You just had a big Illuminati merger of two big families, Warner Brothers and Ted Turner. Now, Ted Turner went in debt in the 80s, but he came out of debt with the Persian Gulf War and became the #1 news channel, CNN. And not only that, recently he bought Castle Rock Movies, as well as what's this other one? Something World, New World Pictures. He bought these particular New Line Cinema. He bought these particular pictures, and so he was riding as far as the most financial success that he's ever been. But why would you merge with Warner Brothers and step down on your company and become vice president? That is because if you read the book, Coleman's book, Conspirators Hierarchy 300, Committee of 300, you'll find out that Ted Turner is in fact a part of the Tavistock, Illuminati, Trilateral, and all of that. So you know that Warner Brothers is one because they got Warner Books, Warner Records, Warner TV, Time, Newsweek, BET is Warner Brothers, and Warner Communications Company, which is also Warner Brothers Movies. HBO is owned by Warner Brothers. Cinemax is owned by Warner Brothers. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, when they merged together, it made the biggest media merger in world history, which you know that the media is basically the government, damn near. So this merger is actually consolidating the forces together that you would actually have coming together that would in actuality be the New World Order controlling force for world domination, because who controls the minds of the children controls the people. And what better way to control the people but through the news? You see? So that's very key, and that was a very significant merger. And he didn't do it because he needed money. He said, I wanted to be big time. Well, hell, you was already big time. You got the biggest news network in the world, and that's not big time. But what he meant was, this is a consolidation for me to be even with the bigger boys of the Illuminati. You see, very key that that particular part actually happened. So now for those particular people who didn't see this the other week, which we're going to get into also tomorrow, you saw them X-Files last week where they were sucking the melanin out of the black people, out of the black guys. And they stick this thing so-called in the pituitary gland, but they meant pineal gland, basically. And they were sucking the melanin out, but they said it was based on the ancient African tribes that couldn't produce melanin. They was actually talking about white people. Now, whether the creation or whatever, is still the origin is in black history. Very key, they're coming out and telling you, but they said what? The key was that they couldn't survive throughout all the years, not unless they had this particular melanin. So this verifies that them, as being vampires, that they have been extracting melanin over the years, at least the upper echelons of those. You see, for those. Hold on, let me get through some stuff. We'll deal with that. So, very interesting. Another thing, a movie that's very interesting that came out that you need to go see, first of all, because it shows Africa as another dimension. It's beautiful. The movie is called The Ghost and the Darkness. Now, this is a movie about two lions that went crazy. Now, this is a true story. There's the paperback book out on Ghost and the Darkness, but there's also a book called Man Eaters. True story of them set in colonization, 1898, and they was building a bridge, and based on they had colonized Africa, these two lions went crazy and killed 130 people. Real true story. Now, when you go see the movie,
they showed on the public broadcast about 8 years ago. They had a documentary.
Yeah, and they have the book out now.
They were living in caves, lions were living in caves.
Yeah.
Like
But in the movie, Michael Douglas is the world's #1 hunter. They find out he becomes the world #1 hunter because he hooks up with the Maasai. And he goes through the rituals with them every night and goes through the sacred dance before they go out hunting. And the Maasai actually flush him out for him and he kills him. But in this particular movie, when they was trying to kill these two lions, They flushed the lion out, but the other guy, Val Kilmer, his gun jams, and the Mossad said, we're going home. He said, why? He said, because those are not lions. Those are spirits. One is the ghost, and one is the darkness. And these lions thought just like humans. But it was interesting that in the movie, they even mentioned that some Africans said, well, this is the lion's way of getting back at the white man based on colonization. Although they were killing black people, but the black people they were killing was the ones who was helping the white man build a bridge. And these lions would actually come in and snatch you out of your bed and take you so many distance and kill you. Very key movie. Now, also, if you look in the Egyptian, if you look in the Confederacy of God Ancient Egypt, Budge's book, or also the Gods of the Egyptians, you will see a picture of two lions with their backs facing each other, chewing Tefnut. Which, I'm saying that the actual incident that happened almost 100 years ago in the physical is symbolic of something happening now in the spiritual, and the white man knew about it because he put the movie out at this particular time. So the movie is still in theaters, and it's a movie that you need to actually see. Another key movie that you need to see, and I'm going to go deeper into this tomorrow, is a movie called Extreme Measures. Now, Extreme Measures is a movie based on them taking homeless people, snatching them off the street, and experimenting on them for whatever. We know that that's the melanin extraction program that's going on right now. Well, it's well over 12 million people are missing. Black people. The movie documents this. And so while the movie is still in the theaters, you need to see the movie. Extreme Measures. And it documents this, although they might say they was finding a cure for some type of what you call it, paralysis. For paralysis, in actuality, this particular movie documents what I said in a previous lecture in early '95, where these people rolled up into projects in Atlanta, the projects Carver Homes, and snatched up these brothers, and one brother got away running buck naked. Well, in the beginning of the movie, they show these two homeless people, one black and one white, running buck naked. So they put white people in the movie to throw you off, but this is actually what's going on. Now, the key to this is this. The person who actually wrote the book was a medical doctor named Michael Palmer. And not only that, this guy has a series of books. You'll find them in I don't know if it's in science fiction sections, but you will find also in horror sections. You will find these books, little paperback books for $4 or $5 in the actual bookstores. And this guy is a medical doctor, and he has several things of what's going on in the hospitals, on how they're killing people in experiments, in 4 or 5 novels. The novel that was actually made into a movie was in fact the novel that's based on them snatching people up. Now they say they're working on the spine, but you know they're talking about melanin. That's the key, because everybody got a cut in the back of their neck. Very interesting that this guy Michael Palmer, who is a medical doctor, wrote these books. He's not writing these books based on sitting down and just thinking up some horror in his mind. He's writing this book based on several incidents that he and his colleagues are doing. You see what I'm saying? That he and his colleagues are actually doing. You understand where I'm coming from here? So now we got case studies of the actual concentration camps and the King Alpha plan going on, and you can go right there in the movies and see the damn thing. You understand? You can see it now, and that's very key. I want to get into a few things. One of the things is I want to put this on record, because I think I said it. I don't know if I said it here before, but certain things need to be made record. Made on record, since we have the video here, so certain things need to be documented. First thing we're going to document is, for those people that need to be documented, I documented it in New York, but they somehow didn't get it on the actual, they didn't actually get it on the actual the actual cassette. And that particular part is the killing of Sheikh Anta Diop. So I'm going to get it on the video, so bear with me. Sheikh Anta Diop was killed after visiting Atlanta, Georgia in 1986, 10 years ago. Based on the information, they poisoned Sheikh Anta Diop on the airplane, and when he touched back down in, what's the place, Senegal, Dakar, he was already dead. When the wife came to the airport to greet him, by her being this white woman, they told her, now listen, you got a choice. Either you can die just like him, or you can shut your mouth and go back home, and we can announce the day that we want the funeral. And later on, I don't know, a month or a couple of weeks or a month later, they announced it, because they can keep your body on ice as long as they want to. And as a result, Sheikh Anta Diop had also had some stuff that was going to be his next work, as he had dealt with some stuff based on some information from France based on some skeleton remains or some type of skeleton remains on the white person, and basically tapping into his origin as far as actual missing link of this animal side of him and with this whole thing what went down. And so based on these particular papers, because you know his wife ended up turning over all the papers to the French government. Well, hell, if all the papers was printed like so-called scholars say, like Civilization of Barbarism being his last book, why turn that over? That's already printed. So obviously there had to been some papers with some other deep things or other important things, and basically it was based on some other missing links of this white person, which we have more evidence on it, but we're talking about even for scientific evidence, because people need that to be convinced. He had that scientific evidence. He wrote about it partially in his book on the Tamahu in the African Origins of Civilization, Myth and Reality. Myth or Reality. He talks about the Tamahu. So as a result, they killed him, and the wife went along with the whole program. They poisoned him on the actual plane. The actual plane. One of the greatest things he said at the King Center was, because first of all, he visited the wrong niggas. The Martin Luther King Center and Coretta Scott King, had the wrong wife too. And Coretta Scott King, as well as Andrew Young. Andrew Young is on the Trilateral Commission. Been on the Trilateral Commission for years. So, in Coretta Scott King, that whole thing, she's a professional widow, and they actually get checks from the government for her to just look like she was that same picture where she was crying for Martin Luther King's funeral. She looked that same way now. Anyway, they get paid. All the sons and stuff, they get paid to be the family of Martin Luther King, and to keep this whole legacy alive. Why are they getting paid? Because that leads to the next factor that we need to make clear.